Okay, hi everyone, so I'm Smithy Q, and I have a position for you. White to move and win. What jumps out? If you've done my course, then obviously, hopefully you know and understand the answer. Otherwise, we'll come back to it, but this is an absolutely brilliant position. So let's start from the beginning. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, I will. This game probably isn't the best example, and if I could redo this course today, I would not include it. I'd think of a better one. Let me explain my thought process. One, that last position is really pretty. We'll get to that in a second. But two, we're going to look at a very common position where there's a bishop attacking a knight, and black is going to challenge it with a6. This is, in fact, the main line of chess of this e4, e5 is bishop goes to b5 and then a6. And so we again, just sort of back up so we understand what's happening. White attacks a pawn, black defends a pawn, sorry. And after bishop b5, white is attacking the defender. And so the question we always have to ask is what happens if white just takes? So when you challenge it, we've got take, take. Can white just win a pawn? And the answer is no, because this pawn can be counterattacked. Queen goes to d4, hits the knight, hits the pawn. Knight's going to move somewhere. Boom. And then black's doing okay. And black's doing better than okay. Sure, his pawn structure's a little bit worse, but he's got the two bishops in a wide open board, and practice favors black. That's why nobody does this as white, at least not any strong player. And so the reason this works, again, is because this pawn is undefended. And let's look at the game. Knight of 3, bishop goes to b5, right? And black plays a6, but the pawn's fully defended, right? Takes, takes, takes the pawn. And so the reason I wanted to include this game is because there's a lot of players that don't know how to deal with this tension, and you should not be playing a6 to kick the bishop away when the pawn's defended. But the thing is that black has some tactics which kind of make it okay. He's able to sacrifice the knight right back, and then play. It is a very, very similar thing. Both knights are attacked, both knights are undefended, and so, like, what do we do? Black is more or less okay. White gets an initiative, but it's kind of fine. And so, again, is this the absolute best example I could have picked? Probably not, but let's go with it. So you're white in this position. What should you do? So the first thing we should realize is that we can't possibly save either knight, but what we can do is castle. Because after black recaptures, do you see what we have? We've got that e file. And so we're able to put the rook right there, staring down the king. And now black has to be very careful. If you were to make a nothing move, this knight could just move, and then you're going to lose your queen. So black has to block the diagonal. White is then able to play d4, so we can see that white is gaining a lead in time. He's already castled. He's got the center. Good things are happening. Where's that queen going to go? Queen goes to d5. The queen is in the center, but how are we going to attack it? Right? Are we going to bring our knight all the way back? We're going to retreat our knight? No, that doesn't make any sense. The queen is more or less fine there for now. So white needs to finish development. We still got this bishop. Where do we want to put it? He puts on the most available square. And this has the virtue of stopping black from queenside castling. Like if we put the bishop here, for example, black might just do this. Then black's going to castle. Maybe he'll even think of throwing his pawns here. Maybe black's okay. Bishop goes to g5. Black plays bishop goes to d6. And now white, there's nothing wrong in this position, just to be clear, of simply moving our queen somewhere. Queen goes to d2, maybe queen goes to d3, bring the rook over, and just finishing development that way. Or, because we're mostly developed, again, there's nothing really wrong with perhaps playing queen d3, rook goes to c1, maybe b3, and expanding like that. Both of those are generally the good ideas. But what white does is white thinks, okay, this king isn't castled. I am castled. I've got a slight lead in time. Can I use that? And he comes up with this really interesting move, bishop goes to f6. Now, the bishop is immune. If you were to take it, whoops, so you just lost your queen, so that's not very good. So the bishop can't be taken. But then, if you can't take it, what are you going to do? It's obviously attacking this pawn as well, right? And so if you can't play g6, you don't play rook, so white, he's going to cast. Again, as white, we don't have to worry about that bishop, because as long as the queen and the king are like this, it's still a fork. And so, I'll just delete these arrows. White just plays queen goes to d2. Again, thinking about bringing the rook in. And as long as again, the pieces are in this alignment, we're fine. Okay, so we have this funny instance where this bishop is just sitting here, and neither side is really doing anything about it. Now it's in this moment where white makes it basically a choice. He makes a strategic decision to grab the bishop. Now you might think, hold on, doesn't this just fix black's pawn structure? Isn't that exactly what black wants? But if you were a keen, eagle-eyed viewer, you'll realize this is the exact same position I shared at the very beginning. And black needed to recapture with the queen. That was the only possible move. Why? Because this here is, again, perhaps the what just it's a fabulous motif. If you were white and you had two moves in a row, what would you do? Okay, you might think, okay, c4 and take the queen. Okay, sure, fine. But even stronger would be queen goes to g5, and then queen takes g7. That'd be checkmate instantly. Those are the two strongest moves you could do. I guess h6 there is also fine. So that's the dream. Well, we can't play queen h6 because we just lose it, and we can't play queen g5 because the queen defends it. Is there a way that we can chase the queen away? Something like c4 might work, but the queen's just going to slide over here, and everything's fine. Is there a way we can stop the queen from controlling this stuff over here? And if you think that way, so you're using some creativity, because we know what our mating pattern is. And we saw this is the only thing stopping us from executing that pattern, then that's how you can come across this absolutely brilliant move. Rook e5. Black resigned instantly. Um, so obviously we're attacking the queen. And now if you take it, well, queen goes to g5, and now there's no queen takes g5. There's no way to defend the g7 square. So we just slide on in, and that's checkmate next move. Absolutely nothing black can do. So I just think this is uh, just brilliant. It is one of my favorite motifs ever. Seeing this, again, being perfectly honest, I was solving tactics. And during the day, this position popped up. I said I loved it. And I was also in the process of getting examples for my course. And so, hey, let's just throw this one in here. Is this the absolute best example? Probably not. But hopefully this position does a little bit of justice. And again, chess is supposed to be beautiful. This is a very, very beautiful move. Throwing a rook, empty square sacrifice, and you're going to lose your queen or you're losing your king, black. Like, obviously, now black could, of course, just take the bishop. And then after you take that, I mean, you're completely losing, but it's not, checkmate immediately. But that's beside the point. Um, Again, not the best example in the world, but a really pretty position, and there's still some lessons that we could learn. So we're going to move on from there. Thank you very much for coming this far. We got about 6 games left. So Smithy Q, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.